and also voting days will be happening in less than 5 days. Hi, Miss Daphne.
Hello,
I'm very honored
Assalamualaikum.
to
How are you?
actually.
Ada lag eh?
I'm good. I'm very honored to moderate you today. Thank you to your management team for giving me this opportunity, this golden opportunity. Maybe I can start with the overview first. Can I start now?
Yes. Yes, I'm
Is
waiting.
my okay? All right. So early August, Sabah has faced a political struggle between some political parties until the former Chief Minister of Sabah, Datuk Sri Panglima Shafiq Abdal, requested the dissolution of ADUN at Sabah. We are here, Gap.my, an organization to increase and intensify women representation in social, economical, and also political, wanted to talk with community of Sabah on their perspective of this PRN that focusing mostly on women development issues and also maybe a bit of voters issues who can vote. Okay, I will start with the first question, maybe because we need to know you more, and I understand that you was a child advocacy before, right now, and you also an MCs, you're doing a lot social activism and so on. So maybe you can tell us a little bit of yourself and your background as a child advocacy and related to women's development issues.
Thank you, Dini, for that introduction. Hi, everyone. Assalamualaikum. My name is Daphne Iking. I'm a professional MC, a content creator, YouTuber, as well as a child activist. I was born in Sabah, Kening out to be more precise. Then we moved to London in UK, and then I came back to Kota Kinabalu, completed my high school and the whole works here, moved to Penang to do my degree in film studies as well as broadcasting. I did my master's there too, and now I reside in Petaling Jaya. So I am married with 4 children. I married a Malaya, orang Malaya di sini, Azmi Abdul Rahman. My work with child advocacy actually started because of the fact that many years ago, many moons ago, I came across this lady who was a drug user, and she was pregnant with a child, unwed pregnant mom, and she was told by her family that she will not be able to return back to her kampung if she did not either abort the child or to get rid of the child. So me very naively decided that I would take it upon myself, not married by the way, to be to volunteer to raise her child, not knowing then that there were going to be some challenges that are faced, not only financial but also documenting the birth of the child, etc., etc. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, the mother actually decided to take and keep the baby, but after a few years I found out that she had passed on due to AIDS, and I never really know, I don't know what really happened with that boy, you know. So that thought of that boy has always lingered, and that is why I've always been very invested in helping unwed pregnant moms, single moms, and that sort of led me to also fighting for the rights of children, stateless children to be more precise, because when I started working with these unwed moms and also the cases of baby dumping and stuff, we also found that it was very hard to get citizenship for these babies because of the fact that we have very not updated laws with regards to citizenship. So if the father is Malaysian, for instance, the child will not be deemed Malaysian. But that's another whole story altogether. So that's basically how I got involved. And of course, child advocacy came in, and sexual grooming came in. Recently, I worked, well, not recently. It seems like yesterday only because it's now 2020 and 2020 just went up like that. But in 2017, I sort of championed getting all MPs to pass the bill in getting our Child Act renewed or amended. So that was done. So Shabas. So we recognize the fact that sexual grooming is a crime, and very much part of, I'm trying to champion also the fact that sexual harassment is a crime. So that's something that I know, Dini, you are also very passionate about, and the Gap is also passionate about. And these are just some of the things that I am working on. I was appointed to form the Women's Advisory and Consultant Council also, and I work closely with the Women's Ministry in various governments. So yeah, I'm very much passionate about helping children, and especially those stateless children in Sabah.
Actually, you mentioned a lot about stateless children you have just now, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the problem, I understand the problem in Sabah actually is a stateless children issue of not getting ICs, cannot go to school, and so on. Actually, can you tell a bit what's your opinion on that, and maybe can you share a bit how do you help the stateless children on certain so for example, to get their ICs, to get into schools, or maybe you educate them or something like that?
It's a very, very, very complicated and tricky situation, because at the end of the day, it takes political will to pass policies. Our laws need to be amended or need to be structured and implemented, thoroughly executed by everyone across the board, and this just takes political will. So us as activists are trying our best to lobby these bills, only for a new government to change and change and change. So that gets a little bit frustrating for any activists out there when you're trying to set a policy in and to get a bill passed, only for it to have to be re-lobbied again. So going back to your question, in Sabah particularly, it's very sensitive. It's very sensitive because of the alleged Project IC that happened many years ago. And again, it becomes politicized. And when in truth be told is, it's not just about pendatang tanpa izin datang ke Sabah dan membawa jenayah. Jadi kita tak boleh memberikan mereka IC atau citizenship because it's not fair for us who really owns this land. So it's all about us and them. And it's always going to be like this until we do something, and the policymakers have to do something about that. So that's why it's frustrating. One. Two, because it's not just about, a lot of people think, if in Semenanjung, for instance, they always associate statelessness as those like the Rohingyas, those who are refugees. It's not. We have problems where even in the rural areas of Sabah, where they don't register their marriage. When they don't register their marriage, then they are not known officially as husband and wife, and then susah nak get the birth certificate for the anak, and they just do that turun temurun. They don't care until that anak suddenly leaves the kampung, goes to the city, and says, "Oh, I don't have any documents." So it's just very frustrating, and to prove all that, it takes some time. It can be done. Again, it goes back to political will, and that's something that we really need to focus on lah. I could go
That's
on
true.
about
That's
this,
true.
Dini, but
I
I'm
mean,
like, eh.
yeah. If it's too much of political instability where we need to vote again, so then the table will need to be lobbying again and again. The started work has to be done again and again. So tak boleh nak jalan. So that's why it's a bit frustrated lah. And I understand from the voters perspective that they has been given amanat to the kerajaan to help them to put this issue on the table, but then again macam-macam jadi backdoor government and so on. So maybe can we proceed to the next question where
Yes, we can.
I when we had a lot of conversation just now, you told me that you had a lot of opinion on women development issues in Sabah. You mentioned that ada masalah on mak-mak yang melahirkan sendiri di rumah ataupun mak-mak yang melahirkan di hospital tidak mendapat health yang secukupnya, yang sepatutnya they deserve to get. So maybe it's about health, it's about social problems, it's about political problem maybe. So can you tell us a bit your opinion on women development in Sabah?
Where do I begin? I think it's not just in Sabah, Dini. I think it's around the world where women development has its challenges because of the fact that we are still facing discrimination in terms of things are very, 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 very. You think we're having our our rights heard and our voices heard, but nothing will change unless the mindset changes. When the mindset changes, then only we can start implementing and executing the policies or the values that we need to bring back forth. Let's start with something as simple as paternity leave. This is something that I've been pushing for last year, where we actually went to the parliament to sign to get our petition across. Everyone was signing on getting paternity leave, to have a longer paternity leave for the men. Okay, why do I say that? It's not only because the father needs to bond, that the mother needs help masa dia dah baru bersalin, dia penat. Not everyone has maids and nannies and grandparents to help and everything. So the father is also very much of the parent to come and parent this newborn and to help with the household. So something as simple as that. Because so we put that aside, which is a big glaring no-brainer, right? But also think about this. Because of the fact that it's still the culture, the mindset of, for instance, men bawa balik the bread, they are the breadwinners. Or okay, let's eradicate that, because now kononnya it's that we've moved on. We've moved on that both women and men are able to bring back money, income to the house. But let's say we've got two individuals, okay, the father and the mother. Let's say the mother beranak, father is given only like maybe 2-3 days paternity leave if he's lucky, and then after that everything else will be fall to the mother. The mother has to take on the whole looking after the anak, looking after herself. She just pushed a human out of her body, but never mind, she still has to look after that. On top of that, she's also got her work commitments. Even though she has her maternity leave, she's got that conscious fear of, what if someone replaces me? You know that I've been discriminated in my line of work because I was pregnant. So in all 3 of my pregnancies, or actually 2, the second one, that was the reason why I decided I needed to keep the next 2 pregnancies secret, was the fact that they think that women who are pregnant will be less effective. Women will not be able to contribute. It is tiresome. I will admit that being a mother, a newborn, especially to a newborn, is going to be very tiring because you're healing. It does take time. So you taking out, getting your maternity leave as is something that you just have to do, because you need to heal. But having said that, that's when the bosses, the employers, the company will say like, rugilah kalau dapat perempuan. Because they will kahwin lah, they will get pregnant lah. And you get that. I've got so many of my friends who get discriminated. They go like, you're pregnant, sorry, we can't have you. And I can't help that also, because it's again that little very wide gap where, and that's why you need to mind the gap, where you have the men taking, saying like, we give to the men lah. Cuba kita bagi paternity leave dekat lelaki juga. So then the questioning won't be only for the woman. Oh, are you planning to get married? Are you planning to have babies? Why don't you say that to the men? They don't do that because they think that the men will be able to contribute more income-wise and economically because they are, so if we give them paternity leave, then it's sort of like you're equating it lah. So it's not only the women yang macam, we rather hire women than hire men than the women. So it's a very, so that's just a small thing. Paternity leave. Kau bayangkan. And it's just like that. I was reading this article. I'm sorry, Dean, I can go on for yongs about this. I was reading this article about how all the great artists or the great men, all those wonderful, influential men of the yesteryears are so powerful and so successful. And you always hear that behind a successful man is a very strong woman, or there's something like that, right? And it's true, because women have to take that already. They have to, they've got their work and everything, and then they have to do the house chores. I was reading one of them where I think it was Alma. Her name is Alma. Can't remember who her husband is, but he's a composer, a very famous musician. Now I can't remember on the top of my head. But when they got married, and she too was a musician herself, when they got married, because he said, okay, I need you to keep quiet because I need to focus on my creativity so that I'm able to compose. And he composed beautiful music. She too was an excellent composer, but she had to take a step back because her husband's grandeur and grandness appeared, because he said, you know what, I need the house to be quiet. Can you just make sure that the kids are quiet? Because I need to think. It never occurred to him that the wife too probably needs her space, her time to do what she wants without feeling guilty. And many women do this. Dini, I'm not sure if you're married or not, and I don't want to disrespect my husband. He tries his level best to do. We try and be equal as possible, you know. But at the end of the day, it always goes and falls back to the woman most times and most households for them to continue with the house chores, the teaching of the kids, looking after the kids. So women in the workforce or climbing up the corporate ladder, it's harder for them because they also have this commitment as well as that stereotype that women will not be able to to invest, to give more to the company because of XYZ. They won't be as committed. They will have maternity leave. Nanti diorang nak kahwin, lepas tu ada anak dah lah boleh sampai 4. Macam ni. So it's very, very hard for them to be bigger than what they are, to grow and to show more of their potential due to this, you know. And it's not bad. It's not a bad thing wanting to have a family. You know, I think it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But somehow they are made to realize or feel that, you sure you want this promotion? Because I think you want to get married and you want to get children. You think this is still backward thinking, but it's happening still right now. So how are we supposed to develop ourselves if this mindset and this culture and this taboo and these challenges continue to still be there?
Still there.
Yep.
Actually, when you talk about sexual harass, and just to let you know, I'm still single. I'm not even married yet.
Okay.
Just finished my study.
Enjoy it, girl.
Though that I'm single, it's not about the status of ourselves, but we women always get to be harassed, always get to be, are you able to, work? Are you able to lead an organization? I was the president before. I win 95% to against men. It's not because I want to against men. I think women just want a platform for them to voice to like what you said just now, to voice about the paternity leave that they have, and to voice up about how childcare and so on. There's a lot of things. But I want to ask you one more question about women development in Sabah because
Okay.
seeing that a lot of women in Sabah, it's not about women. A lot of Sabahan
Yeah.
actually demand on progressive change or progressive development on social issue, on infrastructure, and so on. So why I'm saying Sabah, is a world issue. Why I'm saying Sabah, because right now it's a Pilihan Raya Negeri Sabah, and again, politician is using that as a political tools, saying that about religious, about gender problem. Seeing all the representation of women as a candidate in Sabah is only 9%, which is 43 candidates over 447. I think is very frustrated. I'm very frustrated, and not only me, all the campaigners also frustrated. Also Undi Sabah, also Pulang Mengundi Sabah, and so on. Because yesterday I had a meeting, so maybe you can tell us a bit on your opinion on that, on the representation of women to lead, and also development of them in Sabah. Because I think because Sabah is such a lovely state, kaya dengan macam-macam hasil, but then yang kaya lain. Yang kaya the politicians, not the people. So maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
All
Specifically
right.
on that.
So, yes, you're right with the numbers. It's only a very sad 9.6%. It's not even tak cecah pun 10%. Well, because I'm trying to get the information from Warisan right now, but I know for a fact that Parti Cinta Sabah, they've been trying to push for more women candidates, more youth candidates, because their objective is going to be more youth centric, so they're trying to do that. Warisan also, I'm trying to get the numbers there, but I think they too are lacking in candidates. I don't have any connection to the BPN and BN, so I can't comment on that because I don't have the numbers there. And I'm like, this is a bit too lambat for me to go like one by one. But yes, it's very sad. And I think part of the reasons why it's hard for them is not that we don't have really good female candidates. We do. It's just that they are probably reluctant to join politics for so many reasons. And it goes back to, again, that whole the mindset of I'm already doing so much. Most of these candidates have a business or a professional that they're already in. So having that added portfolio of wanting to be in politics can be quite daunting, especially when they've got so much roles already to take. And it is quite dirty out there. I mean, let's just face the facts. I remember going to one of the meetings and they were saying, tidak tahu kalau dia boleh ni, perempuan ni candidate sebab kau tahu dia punya contender semua lelaki. And I'm like, and that's sort of like, why would she not be okay? You know, because for me, I feel if I was to put myself there and all the other contenders are male, that's fine. We're equal. If you like me for me. And then I found out, because she's a woman, they're gonna judge her based on this X, Y, Z. And I remember a time, a few years ago, where, like for instance, Yang Berhormat Hanayo, where she was talking about something so productive, so, sentimental to my heart, and it was something that an issue. And the thing that came out from the mouth of a male MP was, I think you should start wearing lipstick because you look pale. It had nothing to do with the topic or the issue, and that just frustrates me because of all the things you can't. So it's like that. Women are still objectified in that sense, and it's very frustrating. So going back, I don't think the underrepresentation of women in politics is because of the fact that we aren't capable. It is just probably they already have too much on their hands because again, it goes back to cultural belief where I think you got too much in your hand. Kasihan anak kau nanti. Oh, for the men, tidak kasihan anak-anak kau. You know what I mean? I remember a time, my mom told me this. When my mom was actually given a scholarship to further her studies. I think she declined because they didn't have any financial means to go. So many years later, my father actually told her, he said to her, I think it's your time to go. You've always wanted to pursue your degree in XYZ. Why don't you go? I'll look after the kids. Bless my dad. And she said, oh, yay, my husband's giving me this leeway. But it was her mother who actually, so it was my grandmother, si Todo, dia yang cakap, kamu tidak kasihan kau punya suami dengan kau punya anak-anak. Kau kas tinggal saja dorang macam ni. Kau ada baby kecil lagi. Adakah kamu, it's a bit selfish of you. And that's just it, the word selfish. A lot of women out there are supposed to be able to do everything, but then they are not allowed to be interrupted. I mean, they are not allowed to be given the leeway of able to taking their time off for themselves, a little bit me time, a little bit of me time, because the fact of the matter is everything is given to her, and even though we want to say no, the husband plays an important role also, or the partner, in case you're in an LGBT relationship, I don't know, so I'm going to be very careful here. So if the partner is also, very much inclined to help, it's always the biological mother, the maternal instincts comes in and say like, I can't do that. I feel so guilty leaving my kids with just my spouse or my partner. So, yeah. All right. No, I'm also actually streaming this live, Dini, over my Instagram.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I've got someone who
okay.
actually asked me, sorry, I just joined. Daphne, would you ever consider going into politics, especially for constituency in Sabah where you are? I've actually been asked. Someone had actually, I told Dini this prior to our little prior to our live, we had a little chat just now. And I've been asked by many quarters to join politics. And it is very tempting to go only because I've noticed as an activist, it's very frustrating when our policies are not being passed in the parliament because of all this politicking which is unnecessary. So I feel instead of me getting frustrated, I would have to then now put myself there and try and champion it on a higher level. However, the only thing that is stopping me, surprise, surprise, is actually my children. Why? Because then they all are now so comfortable here in PJ. They've got their friends, their family. I mean, most of the families here. I've got my family there too, but they've got their friends and stuff here. Their school is here. It would be very unfair. See how I'm saying it? It's very unfair if I have to lift the whole family, including my husband and his work, to Sabah just for that. But is it unfair?
Understand.
But is it
It
unfair?
is. It is about priority actually. So it is indeed about priority actually. So maybe it's not because women are not capable to do to prioritize whatever you can do. It's about we have a lot things to do when we have to take care of the children, need to educate the children, need to ensure the children growing up well. Well, my mom was a one of my mom also working when I was only 10 years old. I was demanding during that time. I wanted to go to boarding school because I feel frustrated. My mom is not at home and so on. I feel rebel and so on. But then I had a great mom who actually bring me to who am I today, which is because she knows how to bahagikan masa and so on. Well, it's all about your own
Where was
priorities.
dad?
And if you, huh?
How about dad?
Um,
I
my
always
dad
ask
is a
this. Yeah. What are your
well.
memories of your dad?
My dad is the one who uh, always cari rezeki,
There you go.
but also the one who jaga because I'm planning to go to boarding school, so he's the one who hantar me to go there. It's really amazing. I had two dad actually, so I had two amazing dad who take care of me until I am here today to actually talking a lot about activism and do a lot of about women's empowerment and so on. So I'm glad that I'm here and they understand me because I want to do this thing. I'm glad. I think I'm privileged enough, but not for my friends who their parents that do not understand them that this is a really important issue. This is not about religious issue. This is about human issue. This is what we had a little conversation just now, that why we need to let them understand that certain issue that has been brought up by politicians it is a human issue rather than a political issue. Had a conversation with my boss. She also agreed with me that. So that is going to the second question that I will ask you, which
Okay.
is why is it important to vote for this pilihan raya, especially for women? I understand that there will be a question from you saying that is a woman tak vote ke before this. I mean, they have, but because of this catacracy of government who backdoor government being formed and there's a lot of things, political instability. I don't know because I'm doing international relations, I'm doing politics. There's nothing in terms of backdoor government, but it's a democratic government. However, maybe it is immoral to do that. So maybe the voters feeling frustrated to go out and vote. So maybe can you give a specific word to tell, especially for the women who are 49.98% in Sabah, to go
That's a lot.
out and for the youth to go out and vote for the right candidate to lead Sabah. When you say right candidate, I like your point when you said, is it the political party or is it the individual? But to form a government, we need to ensure that there's a two-third the two-third place has to be there. So to form the government. So I just want to ask your opinion on that, and maybe I have some word to urge them to go vote and to go vote, especially for this 26th of September.
Again, another where do I begin? Right. So let's address first and foremost about voting. Okay. First and foremost, women voters in Sabah, as you have said, come to close to 50%. That's a huge, huge amount of voters lost if they do not go out and vote. They have the rights to vote, yes, But whether they want to is another word, is another different ballgame altogether. And I do not blame anyone if they don't feel like wanting to vote this time around. First thing first is because of the frustration. I think a lot of them are feeling political fatigue. Two is the means. A lot of my girlfriends over here who are Sabahans are reluctant to go back only because of the rising COVID. And if we are quarantined, it might affect our livelihood here where we are currently staying, and home is now here in Semenanjung, Malaysia. So that is already one thing that is already a bit like, alamak, why do they have to do this election masa COVID sekarang? Dah lah. I see campaigners not going through SOP procedures. It's very frustrating and scary because there is a rise. There are new clusters being found. But at the same time, for me at least, I'm someone who always believes that if I don't go and exercise my right to vote, then I should not complain. I have no reason for me to complain about anything about the government or whatever, or the leaders, because I did not exercise my right to vote. But having said that, so yes, going back to question, I urge everyone who has the means, the resources, and the capabilities to please go and exercise your right to vote, because at the end of the day, it does matter. I know it's very frustrating right now having to do this again. It's wasting our resources, our time, and it's just tiring. But I always believe, I'm a bit of an optimistic here, but I always believe there's a reason for something. Now, going back to about choosing the right candidate, it's very frustrating again, because at the end of the day, it's so complex, this Sabah issue here, because so you've got the federal side where so the parties are angry because of the backdoor government, and whether they did a good job or not, that's something else. But people are angry, so they're already frustrated because some people lompat sini, some people lompat sana, so macam panat. The same goes for Sabah on a smaller scale, where other people are very frustrated because ada lompat sini, ada lompat sana. Which, by the way, I asked the president of Parti Cinta Sabah what his decision was based on all this frogging around, and he also agrees that there should be an anti-hopping law that should be, put up, because I think that's something that's very important. If not, kan, senang suka hati dua je lompat sini, lompat sana, lompat sini. Kalau you want to lompat pagar for exercise, tak apa. Indah apa kalau macam tu. Tapi ni lompat for your own benefit. It's not even for the benefit of the people. It's for your own benefit. Now that's very selfish, and I don't agree with that. And I'm glad that the president of Parti Cinta Sabah has actually rightfully said that, because I managed to interview him, so I got it fresh from his mouth. But yes, we must exercise our rights. At the same time, it's very frustrating. At the same time, I understand that there's a fear. My husband doesn't want me to go back. I'm trying to go back. But I can understand his fear, partially because of the fact that for health reasons, and also because what if something happens and there's a lockdown, then I can't go back here to be with the family. And this is where home is right now for me. So it's a little bit tricky, I'm curious to know. I think today they're supposed to announce what's really happening and what's the SOPs like. And I know that the early election is happening today also. So
They should.
it's scary. So choosing your right candidate, I think that was your third question in between this question, is about how do you choose your candidate? Again, it goes back to, if Warisan wins, which is now the caretaker party with Datuk Sri Shafi Abdal as the caretaker chief minister right now, if he wins, he is showing his association dengan Tun Mahathir, meaning the Pakatan Harapan. See, it gets very complicated. Pakatan Harapan. So it's Harapan. Okay, Harapan. If they do not win, then the federal also macam ayah, because right now we've got PN, Perikatan Nasional, which is now in Sabah also got the BN and everything. So it's very poof. Like, how do we vote? For those who voted for change especially, they're going like, I'm so confused right now because so many people lompat pagar sini sana. How do we know that they won't lompat and fuck us up and screw us all up again? Because at the end of the day, we want things to be better. We want policies to be done, and it's very frustrating. So they're already a bit like mind boggled, like, how do we choose this? So we've got like two very prominent parties going up against another, and then we've got the independents, as well as another one that seems to say, I don't want to be part of this. You guys can fight. I just want to say that Sabah wants to be able to be independent, and let us be independent. We will be working together with the federal because we can't help not to work with them. We've got 25 seats there, so we need the help and support of the federal government. But let us be independent, just like how Sarawak is. I think Sarawak is a very fine example of how they're able to govern their own state without any masala. So, and it goes back again to the Malaysian agreement, or MA63, which a lot of people are still confused about. And I can understand that, because it's a history that you have to understand, and you have to understand why the agreement was done, and how along the way did it suddenly macam, kenapa tidak kena diamanahkan ini, and why these politicians are saying they want to make sure that the MA63 is, fulfilled, and but then now it's being highly politicized. Who is actually going to make sure that this is executed? So things like this, you need to think about all these things. So to the youths out there who are going out to vote, to the women out there, to the men out there, when you go and look for your candidates, ask them these questions. When dorang pergi berkempen, ask these questions. How are you going to improve our situation? See if it's really just talk, or is it all just lip service, or are they going to be showcasing real solutions that are doable? You can promise the manifesto, the sky and the moon and the sun and the stars, whatever, but then if it doesn't sound quite realistic, like abolishing the toll, for instance, that sounds a bit like, no, because at the end of the day, someone has to make money to pay back for all the services done. No, that doesn't sound, that gives you a bit of a tinkering about what they are promising. Never ever go for someone that over promises. I always believe in someone that may not be able to address all your concerns, but be honest about it. I think that is how I would choose my right to vote. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like babbling.
Now,
Yeah.
interesting. When you said about local Sabah, do you agree with Sabah untuk orang Sabah? The slogan of Sabah untuk orang Sabah, something like that.
Yes, I do. I think Sabahans are able and capable of running our own state. It's just that it's very frustrating because in the yesteryears, we always have to go back to federal to sort of get their approval for things. Like I said, we're not saying like we want to be away from you guys. We want to pisahkan ourselves, and we still need your support, But let us make our own decision and not fall so much. Don't depend so much on the federal government to make our decisions. We are capable of doing that. And that's why you need someone. You need to find a person who really is invested in that. And not only that, but also has the emotional, mental, and physical resources, capabilities, and stamina to pursue the genuine interests of Sabahans. And it's not just going to be lip service. So it's going to be a bit tricky. I would like to think that a new face would be good, but it has to be steered. The wheel must be steered by someone who has experience in being able to handle not just diplomatic matters, but also has been in a position where he or she is able to address certain issues with some maturity. Right now, macam, alamak, what happened lah? That was quite a sad thing, when that young berhormat macam tak berhormat langsung, when he started making those silly mistakes of saying that he accused Putrajaya of staging the 2013 Lahad Datu incursion. So he said sorry. We're talking about Ketapi, YB Muhammadin Ketapi. And that sort of made a really bad impression on Warisan or Warisan Plus. And so we need people, we need leaders who are not like that, who are a little bit more polished. Not polished, I think that's too atas a word. We need someone who is able to comprehend and the issues properly, and to be able to express it wisely and to be able to be also apolitical. For instance, when we went to push for the Child Act to be amended, and both sides of the MPs from both political beliefs came together and said, yes, we believe in this, let's pass it. And that's great, because sometimes it's a no-brainer. If things are good for the country, good for the children, good for the community in whole, don't fight about it. Don't bicker about it just for the sake of bickering. Like, kalau I agree to this kan, nanti parti tu yang dapat nama. Tak nak lah. Come on, grow up. So we need a leader who is able to see beyond politics. At the end of the day, it's about the betterment of the rakyat. And I think that's how you should be choosing your candidate. It has to be based on the objective
Totally
and the
agree.
goal of the party.
Yep. Okay, because it's 8:40
Running.
right now, so maybe
Sorry.
just a little bit short.
Yeah.
I just want to ask last question on your hopes after this PRN Sabah. You mentioned a lot about Lompat, about anti-hopping laws and all. Maybe you can summarize a bit on your hopes after this PRN Sabah ends.
Well, I really hope that they're given the chance to govern properly and that there will be no more other nonsense going on. I really think that the anti-hopping law needs to be put in place so that it will prevent any more nonsense going on. And see how simple it is, but yes. And I think it's also about the community doers. It's about us. It's about the rakyat. It's not, we don't just have to depend on our leaders. Hey, another reason why I said I don't think I will need to go to politics, even though I'm tempted to, only because of the policy making part, is because we as a community, a rakyat, can do our part in making our community better. We are here to tell our leaders, jaga-jaga ah, kami elect kau tau, kau jangan bergaya sana, kau jangan ingat kau ni basar sangat. We respect them, but we don't have to make them like, we don't have to ampu, don't brown nose and everything. But we too must do our part. If we cannot do a simple thing like segregating our waste, we can't do a simple thing like making sure that we adhere to SOPs, because we want to make sure that everyone is protected from COVID-19. If we're not a community doer ourselves, then let's not just complain about our leaders. If we ourselves cannot change, simple things like helping to clean up your rubbish and stuff like that. Come on, guys. So yeah, be a community doer, go out and vote. You have that right
Yeah.
to do it, and let's
Yeah.
change the mindset. So please go and sign on that paternity leave petition that's going about. I think that's one thing, and to help out with
Yes.
other wonderful campaigns and contributions that people like you like doing. The sexual harassment bill, I think that's something that we would also like to highlight. It is
Yes.
with Awam. So Dini, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daphne, for agreeing to have live with us. I feel very honored. There's a lot of comments in our Facebook right now saying that I always adore the way Daphne King giving her opinion, so brilliant and so on. I hope that you guys enjoy the session, and we will have another session with another Sabah organization from Sabahan, talking about this topic again and again, to urge, to educate, to remind and to go out and vote. Jangan malas-malas. This is the time. This is your time, masa kita, for us to vote for the right leaders to lead Malaysia, not only Sabah. And hopefully, is a way forward. And I hope that I can see you in person definitely one
Inshallah.
day. I should call you Kak or something like that because I'm okay. So, feel very honored. And thank you so much,
Terima
Daphne.
kasih,
And
Dini.
thank you everyone for watching. Terima kasih. Okay, thank you guys. Bye guys.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Okay.
All
Okay, Daphne.
right.
Miss Daphne, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you so much, Dini. Sorry, terlebih pula. Ya Allah.
Tak apa, tak apa. It's okay. Terima kasih Brother Joe for agreeing to have this live. Dato' Azhar also kirim salam to you. I don't know whether you cakap dengan Dato' Azhar ke tak. Dato' Azhar kata kalau boleh jemputlah datang parlimen and then talk to me about whatever you advocate on child right, because she wanted to have that bill later. Uh, she 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 just met Awam. She told them to go bottom rather than just go to the MPs. She told them to understand the grassroots more and then educate the grassroots more. So maybe if you had like a suggestion on that, just let me know. I will definitely, because I'm the officer for Dato' Azhar, I'm definitely gonna give a suggestion to her. She so That's all from me lah. Can we take a picture? And I want to introduce you to my Gap team, just a small team.
Okay,
This
boleh.
is this is my branding team.
Hai, nama
Najwa.
siapa? Hai Najwa. How are you?
Tak dengar, tak dengar.
Tak dengar. Okay. Keluarkan. Hi Najwa, how are you? Okay. Tak apa, I'm just agak-agak walaupun pakai mask agak-agak I'm okay. Dia kata. Ha. Tu dia.
Okay, okay. We done?
I can't hear you guys
Can we take
unfortunately. Okay, boleh?
Can we take picture one last? Okay.
Alright.
Sini sikit. Okay. Ni sikit. Tak. Sini sikit. No. Sini sikit. Sini. Okay. Sini. You here. Here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Wait
Oh, wow.
1, 2, 3. Alamak, susah. Kenapa ni?
Kita tengah ambil
boleh
gambar
pula.
ni sekarang.
Oh, yeah.
Kepada siapa yang tengok masa
So,
dekat Instagram live.
1, 2, 3. Thank you so much.
Thank
Mr.
you
Jo.
so much
Mr.
guys.
Jo.
Thank you Dini. Bye Najwa. Bye everyone. Thanks team.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay. Alright.
Right. Can I sign off first? Or they ni.
Alright, yes.
Are we still on?
Okay, yeah, we're still on, definitely. No.
All right, so I saw that a lot of people are still on board, and thank you for all your questions. Sorry, because this is not my live stream. It was actually by the Gap.my. There's some youngsters out there.
Not the baju, eh? This is not the baju.
So I was not able to read all your comments, but thank you so much. Let's see if I can get some from Facebook and YouTube. Let's see, it's all political. Okay, that's one. Same, stuck in Singapore. Hi Farah. Yeah, but I agree with you, Joe. Bullshit. Macam mana kita mau work together to build this nation kan? Farah won't be able to go back to Sabah also because she's got an
Kasihan.
appointment. We have to educate the rural parents also to be more responsible to urus their anak certificate. Yes, absolutely. This is in what we were talking about, the issue of stateless children, not just in Sabah but in Malaysia, and it's also because of the fact not a lot of people think that the issue stateless ni disebabkan oleh refugees ataupun orang yang pendatang haram. Bukan, okay? Bukan sahaja itu. We have problems where in the rural areas they don't just register their marriage or their birth cert, so it happens lah begitu leto. Thanks for your thoughts. Kita juga by ni. Okay, siapa cakap sumandak tidak cantik, but okay. Alright, we've got from Vina. True, dads too have pressure, stress to handle in the outside world, and so do moms. Both have the responsibilities equally. Yes, I agree, Vinod. We both have our work commitments and both have stress because of the work commitments. But when it comes down to the crunch of, in most households, I'm not saying all households, where the woman will then, after lepas kerja, they have to come back. You know, they have to come back and then they have to urus dorang punya anak, make sure that dinner is served, make sure that laundry is clean and stuff like that. So that's mostly what happens in most households. So we have to change that perception, because they always think like, you know, the woman has to be, you know, I speak about this in my swapping notes. Go to my YouTube. We speak about postpartum emotions and how we dealt with it, and how I've been getting a few direct messages or DMs where dah the woman baru beranak kan, and then the husband minta lancap lagi macam sudah pun you're sudah pun tired, and then your husband want to minta lagi macam that's the last thing in their head they want to do, like they just want to fucking sleep, right? So it's very
the last thing in their head is
frustrating.
to give head.
Yeah, the last thing in their head is to give head. Alright, so it is, unfortunately, that's just how it is. And a lot of women feel guilty for taking time out from themselves, for themselves, because they feel that if they do that, then they aren't a good mother, or they're not a good wife, and that they always have to sacrifice that part because of that. And they feel very kosong. So I've always said this to my sister, you know, I've always mentioned the fact that you can't pour from an empty cup. What am I saying about that? If your heart, if you are empty inside, right, how can you give your 100% best of yourself to others around you, those who you love, when you yourself are not at 100%? So remember that, guys, okay? Even an assembly good at work but lompat-lompat. I know, right, Kaivun? Marcus Lee well said, Sabah juga in the same time walau tidak dapat balik untuk mengundi disebabkan COVID, harap-harap semua berjalan lancar dan juga berdoa kes COVID turun. InsyaAllah, amin. Farah says the problem is jarang calon yang bercakap pasal manifesto tapi sibuk provoking saja. Malahan politicians dari persekutuan pula yang sibuk berucap sana sini. Why the hell they want to speak on our behalf? Absolutely true. That's so true. Masa sekarang lah election, dorang datang berduyun-duyun datang untuk berkempen, tapi bila ada asal lama Sabah macam krik 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 krik. Itulah itu. And that's why I'm saying go for the party or those who say that they truly want to be free from federal. Not saying that we want to take ourselves away from being Malaysians or Malaysia. We're just saying, you know, we can support each other as partners, as states, but let us go rule our own state lah. Let's govern ourselves, okay? Alright, I think that's time, all the time that I have right now. Thank you so much once again for your comments, and I guess I shall be seeing you. To those of you who wanted to know more about the live that I was going to have with TM, Unified Business Club, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Unfortunately, that has to be cancelled. It's going to be postponed due to some incidences that we just can't, some circumstances that we weren't able to, weren't able to address in time. But yeah, I'm going to leave this live stream with these two quotes from Ruth Bader. She passed away recently. God bless her soul. Ginsburg, and she says, "I don't say women's rights. I say the constitutional principles of the equal citizenship stature of both men and women. And I'm going to say this also, women will only have true equality when men share with them the responsibility of bringing up the next generation." So with that, I'm Daphne Iking saying good night. Thank you, The Gap, for having me on board. Have a fantastic day ahead, or week ahead, and stay safe, everyone. Bye.